third episode of making it.
Episode 3.
Right. So the last episode, right? What was that one about? Do you remember?
We talked about common mistakes
Yes.
and branding.
Right. So like little pitfalls that are out there and what we see people going through at different stages of the business, right? Now, let's say the next thing that we see a lot, what happens a lot is somebody comes to us and they've grown, they've done really well, they're very successful, they've got a good thing going. And when we're talking to them, we're like, yeah, this sounds good, cool. And then when they hand us their brand to be able to make a vehicle wrap, for instance, most of them don't have the brand, right? So they don't have defined colors or fonts or images. And a lot of times we run into people that don't have the right format for their logo.
Yeah.
So part of owning your brand is owning the different ways that the brand can be used, the logo can be used, right? And we've even run into it before with business owners who don't have their logo, right? So they had some other place, screen printing shop or something like that, made a logo for them. And then that screen printing shop has the logo. And
Like holding it hostage.
It is, it's holding it hostage. That's what we call it. And that's an awkward thing for us, right? Because like we're a design studio. So when the customer is like, oh, just call so-and-so, they've got my logo. We're like,
they're not going to give us your logo.
yeah. And especially like we've had it happen from one wrap shop to another, right?
Yes.
So one wrap shop has designed a logo for somebody. And now all of a sudden there was a bit of a falling out there. Something happened. They don't work well with each other anymore. And that's when, unfortunately, we get the phone call and they're like, I'm sick of this or that or whatever. They've got some pain point that happened. And then we're like, that's great. We'd love to work with you. Just send your logo
files over
and let's see. We'll take a look at like what you got for a brand and we'll come up with something. And then they're like, well, they've got it.
I don't have a logo or I don't have a file.
So do you really think that they're going to give it to me so that they lose your business? Like they've already kind of lost the business, right? But 9 times out of 10, they don't make it easy. They end up like, it's not even worth the phone call.
No.
So we redraw logos, for the business owner. We had one within the last couple of years that came to us that this was an interesting one too. The shop that he was working with designed his logo for him. And they made a lot of the decisions for this individual. And
Colors, the fonts.
So when they were talking to us, we were like, okay, so your color is red. The guy was like, I don't
Not really.
like red.
I never really wanted red.
They kind of just did it. And I'm like, okay, so like, doesn't it mean anything to you? You haven't used it before. You don't have it anywhere else? Nope. Nothing. Okay, well, you got this font that looks like this. And he's like, they just did that.
Yeah.
I don't really like it.
I got like really sold on that font.
So now all of a sudden it was like, you probably could start over and be happier than us trying to redraw what you were given that you didn't like, right? So we ended up like redrawing his logo. We had a similar font to what he had before, which I think would help him with some of his recognition because the font that was chosen wasn't like a bad font. It wasn't like distracting.
It was clean,
like that.
easy to read.
But the color didn't mean anything to him for his brand, and it didn't mean anything for what he did. So we ended up adapting that, and that was kind of an interesting one because we ended up having like live design sessions where he came to the studio and we would have some of the work pre-built, and then he would give us a little bit of input and feedback, and we actually changed it live, like on the wall in the office. We project it to a big screen TV, and we made those designs like right on.
Well, that's all he wanted. That was his.
Yeah.
That was his only thing. He just wanted somebody to listen and work with him in person.
Right.
He didn't want to go back and forth in email or go back and forth in whatever. He just wanted someone to listen.
And I get that, like
take the time
from a designer's standpoint. Like,
it's a nightmare. I get it.
Yeah, I've been to talks. I remember there was one that was at RaptCon, one of the first ones we went to, and the guy's out of New Orleans, and he made the joke about how, like, if you want to let me design it, it's this much, and if you want to design it, it's this much, and if you want to stand behind me and tell me how to design it, it was like 10 times the amount or something, right? Because it's super nerve-wracking as far as that stuff goes.
For sure.
So then Yeah, that was kind of a business that we ran into, and the individual definitely had outgrown his branding, right? He had a good service, he had a good customer base, but like when he showed up, it was just like, right? Like, so that effort didn't match the expectation, I think was what it was. And maybe it was hurting him, like, I've seen home services before where, it's hard to, when they pull up to the house and it's a rusty, like Amazon delivery drivers these days. Right?
Oh, it's the worst.
You get some that show up and you're like,
why are you at my house? Who are you?
Doing?
Yeah.
And remember before they started wearing the Amazon vests?
Yeah.
Where you were like,
so creepy.
Did that person just deliver a package or steal a package? I don't know which one was it, Like that was a thing where like Amazon was.
I'm sure they got tons of complaints, and that's why they made the people start wearing the vests.
Right.
Like you can't just show up to somebody's house in your personal vehicle.
But that little bit of branding, that magnet on the side or a sticker on the side of a car.
It just gives you that peace of mind.
That person's from Amazon delivering a package for you. Like when you see that on your Ring doorbell, when it pops up and you say somebody's there, you're like, oh, that's Amazon delivery. Like there's a totally different feel to that now versus who's that? What are you doing? Why you're at my house? Right. So
same thing when anybody comes to do any service at your house, they show up in a plain white van. You're going to be like, what is going on?
Yeah.
You're not going to get warm fuzzies. Someone shows up in a plain white van.
It could be uncomfortable for that person, there's lots of situations.
Well, I feel like it's just as uncomfortable for the employee that's working at the business as it is for the customer, right? Like,
so this is a good one here. So I had in my notes for like what outgrowing your brand actually means. So what is it that changes first, the business or the brand, right? And that's a chicken or the egg kind of question, I think, because when you think about it, like the business grew, the business changed, right? And, the brand has to keep up. And I think 9 times out of 10, that's the way that it goes. Yeah. I don't see very many times where somebody changes a brand and then the business adapts to it. But I suppose it could, like when you talk about like what it does inward and outward, right? So, if your branding isn't together and your messaging isn't together, how does that affect your team, right? If you have a team, if they feel that misguided effort, right? And then how long does it take for that to translate to your customers?
Right.
And then how do you put a dollar amount on what that is? Because like, are you experiencing like much higher turnover? Because one of the biggest things for employees is just to know what to expect. Like there's a comfort in that. Like I'm coming into work today and this is what I know is expected of me, or like measurable things. Right. And if your branding is all over the place and maybe your consistency of work is then all over the place. And maybe that's why you're having a hard time trying to define that brand. We talked about that in the last episode when I was making picnic tables for people because I didn't know what it was, right? If I had employees at that time and they showed up to work and they thought they were going to be flicking stickers and I told them today we're going to build a picnic table, like that's a stressful moment. They'd be like,
so we have to know how to build a picnic table. Right.
Yeah. So, and then if I had those people interacting with my customers and they were feeling that day in and day out stress, and I had customers from all over the place just going like, I need this, I need that. And there's these crazy ideas. Now all of a sudden my team is frustrated and outwardly my customers are sensing the frustration. And how likely are they for the next transaction or even that transaction to continue to do business with me? Right.
Yeah.
I see that with a lot of shops in our space too. Like, somebody we follow closely, a great term, a mile wide and an inch deep, right? And we see it a lot with, there's places that specialize in vehicle wraps and they do a really great job. But then more and more, because of when we go to these trade shows, there's all these other things that are there that are like, look at me, you could do this too. Yep. And we fell for it a couple times.
Yeah, we have.
Like we bought stuff. And
it went nowhere.
Yeah, because it was misguided, right?
Yeah, it's not lucrative.
Yeah, we're talking about like a print shop that does screen printing, embroidery, laserables, dye sublimation,
cornhole boards,
vehicle wraps,
signs, like you name it,
lot.
they say they do it.
Right. And
I mean, that's overwhelming for me, like to think about all the things that would have to be kept track of and how many different employees you'd have to have, or how much your employees would have to take on if you didn't have a huge staff.
Yeah. What's your system? Like how
they would have to do, they'd have to be good at how many different things in order to do their job.
How big is your staff, right? Like how
you either have a ton of staff or you have people who have to do a ton of things.
And then I would see that the problem with a ton of staff there would be like you've got a guy sitting at an embroidery machine waiting for the next embroidery job because
it's not productive.
Phil does embroidery. Phil doesn't wrap cars. We've got 3 cars to wrap, but I don't know. I don't know how they do a lot of that stuff. But we got sucked into a few things. Like there was some heat transfer stuff that we did for a while. Mostly I did it because I don't know, I'm stupid about exploring stuff like that. And then
it's not stupid.
But we ended up making stuff for us to see if we liked it. It wasn't like we were like instant into the space and said we're an expert in this.
No.
Like in a lot of cases, we just told people like, we don't really do it yet.
Yeah.
You know? And like, I don't know, like what we made some stuff for our daughter's soccer team. Like, okay. Right. There's very low expectations for anything lasting beyond one weekend for any of those things that we made for that team. So it was like, I wasn't worried about it, but a lot of that stuff. So that's something that we kind of constantly try and reframe ourselves into, is like rebranding, refocusing ourselves. It's not rebranding, right? It's focusing back in and just saying like, is that what you do or is this what you do? Right. And it streamlines things.
And how hard is it to get people to know what you do when you do so much?
Yeah.
Like there's
customers confused.
Correct.
Right?
I mean, the employees are probably confused, which affects the customers. It's too much. And we kind of started to go down that path of the inch deep, mile wide. And we were like, this is overwhelming.
Because it's hard to say no to things.
It is.
You don't want to disappoint people.
Correct.
I'm a total people pleaser when it comes to a lot of that stuff. And this morning I had to say no to a project. Somebody reached out to us last night and asked us if we did signs. And like one of the side effects of having our printer is, I can make you a sign, right? But like we've gone down that road and like signs they're
a whole nother business. They're a whole nother ball game.
Well, signs are crazy too, because you can't just make a sign, right?
No.
Like I can wrap a vehicle, and aside from like explicit imagery going on your vehicle going down the road, you can do whatever you want with it. You can use any colors. It can be bright, flashy, big text, little text, whatever. You get into like outdoor signage, like all of a sudden, like the man gets involved.
Oh cow! The manual for signage is like
each city has its own zoning. Certain cities have multiple zones.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. The rules.
You have to measure off like how much curb frontage the business has, and then put it into a ridiculous calculation to figure out how many square footage of signage they can use. And we ran into a city really close by to us, like not to call them out or anything, but it's Bay City. Bay City's got like a historical district, a downtown district, so like a downtown district A and B. They've got it like subdivided. There's like an industrial spot. And in their guidelines, it actually was saying for illuminated signs that it had to be like below a certain candela at certain feet at a certain ambient light.
How are you supposed to measure the candela on a sign?
You call a scientist.
Yeah. Like what? It's a sign, people.
All you can do.
It's a sign, people.
So like the one that, and so the other part about signage like that too is like, where is it located? Like the one that we said no to this morning, one of the reasons we said no to it is like, it's going to be 20 feet up in the air. And like 20 feet up in the air, like you're not going to do that with a step ladder. It's a 2-person job for the size of what it is. And and then you have a building manager of some sort, unless your client owns the building, right? Yeah. But you can't just go up and like start drilling holes into somebody else's building when they don't own it. So then you've got a building manager.
Yeah. So you have a building manager and a permit for the city.
Yeah.
So you're double stacked at this point. And
if you get big enough in the sign thing too, like the other problem is like there's engineering that goes into it, because now there's a liability. Like that sign blows off of there.
Or you might have to hire a general contractor for electrical, or like there's just so many different kinds of signs, and it's just not the direction that we want to go.
So that was a reason that we kind of like reframed our business, and we just said like, okay, this is what we're doing. We can do, windows, walls, murals as well, right? Floors. Yeah. and vehicles, commercial vehicles more specifically. Right.
And branding.
And branding, getting into people's, the core of people's businesses and trying to help them like flesh it out. Right. So,
yes.
So there's usually like once somebody realizes there's a problem with their branding, that it's lagging behind and they're going pretty fast and the brand is looking kind of weak, right? There's usually some things that they try and do. And I'd say the number one thing that people try and do is they tweak their logo or they come up with a new logo, right? And I mean, that's a picture that should represent your business, an icon, whatever, right? But if it doesn't really change the rest of your business and it's just a new logo, like I've seen really bad businesses before that go out of business, and then the same guy goes back into business with a new name and a new logo and does the same bad business.
It goes out of business again.
I mean, it fools people for a while, but eventually, guess what? It catches up.
It's a dead end cycle.
And then guess what? The guy goes back down a peg, gets a new business name and new logo.
Yeah. He's not focusing on the things that matter.
Exact same
He's just doing a logo. He's not focusing on
right.
What's wrong.
Yeah.
It's causing him to go out of business. It's not his logo.
No.
It's not his logo.
So reframe, get those systems in order, right? And then the other thing that we see a lot of people doing is just updating like one thing at a time. Like they put something out there that reframes something and put a new logo out there or whatever, and they just do it on like their Facebook if that's what they're posting most of the time. But if I go to your Facebook page and you sell me on your Facebook page and I get interested and I go to your web page afterward and your web page doesn't look right.
Or doesn't look anything like your Facebook page.
The same guy? Is this the same person? I don't know. And now I just lost confidence, right? So that's that consistency. We talked about that in the last episode where like having that consistency across all platforms. Do it. If you're going to do it all at once. And it's like pulling a Band-Aid.
It is.
At that point, don't just do it one thing at a time. And then, watch out for like, when you do decide to do it, don't chase the trendy thing.
Right.
So my number one for that, when I look at designs out there and brands, I call it Etsy font, right? There's a swoopy, like, I don't know. It's super feminine, right? It's crafty. It's on Etsy. You go to Etsy.com and look at anything. Guess what? There it is.
Yeah.
So when I see a brand that has that, it loses some credibility for me when I see that font, Well,
and it looks great on the screen. Oh, look, it's so pretty. Yeah. It's all flowy. And then they come to me and they're like, I need a sticker that's
it's not versatile.
4 feet by, 3 feet on my window. Okay, your letters are going to be so thin. Like it's not going to be durable. It's not going to be legible.
If you make it big enough, it can be durable. If you make it tiny, that's when you lose it. Like now all of a sudden, like get that like embroidered or screen printed someplace.
Yeah, but even big, if it's too thin, it's not going to translate well on your window,
if it's big,
right?
It's probably because it needs to be looked at from a distance.
Right.
If it's thin like that, then it doesn't carry the weight to be viewed from a distance. So then all of a sudden it's illegible from a distance. So that's your billboards and, big sides of buildings and stuff. Yeah. So we see that one a lot. It's almost like if you Google the Avatar movie, they got a huge amount of flack for using the font that they used for Avatar because it was made fun of in the design world for so long. It's called Papyrus. And it was like the equivalent of using like Times New Roman or Wingdings or something crazy. Like people were like, who did you pay to do this? Yeah. So quick fixes usually create the problems. Sitting down and really thinking about it and going through the actions, that's where I think you get a lot of direction from that. So at that point, then when you're going down that path, like how do you know it's time to just like take a step back and then just completely reset? Like is it just that you pull a ripcord? Like it helps to have help doing it.
Yeah,
I'd say that
for sure.
One of the reasons we didn't do it for a long time is because I didn't want to go to anybody else because I was this designer and I had to figure out my own problems. Right. But it's hard to work on yourself, your own brand.
For sure.
we find it's way easier to look at somebody that comes to us and we can immediately see this is working, this isn't working. You want to look at here and there or whatever. And to do it to us, it was harder to do. But what it was that's when we had to step back and take that reset, and that's where we're at today. We rebranded about a year ago, and now it's much more public facing, but it was a while to roll all our stuff out. So why do you think people fear that rebrand?
I think it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming to think about all of the things that need to happen. When people hear rebrand, they're like, oh, that means I have to change everything.
You know what I think it is? I think people think it's like filing for bankruptcy.
I mean, I get that.
You went down this path for so long and you're like, I got to change everything, right? This isn't working.
Right.
Kind of like what happens in bankruptcy. And then there's like a stigma to it almost, like, we had to rebrand or whatever, because this wasn't right. It means like you made a bad decision or something.
But I don't see it like that. I see like rebrand is like, oh, cool. Like you found a reason to refresh and renew and move in a different direction because that's the way your business was moving.
Yeah.
If you don't rebrand when those things happen, that's where the trouble happens.
Right. And puts everything back into alignment.
Yes.
Like that's the thing, right?
For sure.
Everything gets out of alignment after a while. Like
your wheels on your car.
You're hitting up bumps in the road. That's what it is. That's it. So like after the alignment, right? Now everything feels fresh. Like to use the car analogy, right? Like if you're going down the road and your steering wheel's shaking, right? And you get in alignment, like everything's running smooth. It feels right.
Yeah.
Everything's great, right? So you get that momentum back.
Get a little car wash. You're feeling a little shiny, sparkly,
right.
Clean.
Well, I think decisions come easier at that point once you're realigned because you know exactly the direction that
it feels good. Things. You feel good.
Yeah.
You feel confident about what you have. And
so the crazy part about that is like you feel good, your business feels good. Your employees, if you have them, probably are feeling it because you're feeling it. So you've done two great things there.
Correct.
And then like the other third of that triangle is your customers, right? So like now all of a sudden your customers are feeling good. So if you're feeling good, you're managing your team better, your team's interacting with your customers better, your customers are saying yes more often and everything's more successful and you feel great because you're making more money. Like that's the wheel spinning down the road,
right.
Once you finally
what's the saying? Like people don't leave jobs, they leave bosses, they leave, well, no, but the reason I said is the energy, right? Like, like if that person is
somebody's stressed all the time.
Yeah. If they're not happy with the direction of their business and their branding and that negative energy or positive energy, they're both contagious,
right?
Like in a good way and a bad way. Right. So
if we were going to cap this all together here, right? So the one thing that I had in my notes here was, as we talked about it, was to keep kind of coming back to that outgrowing your brand is a total sign of success.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it is the best possible thing.
It is. Yeah, it is not a bad thing. It is a great thing.
Yeah. So like if you ignore that, what you're going to see is that you're going to go and then taper and then flatline, right? And if you're ignoring those things, you're going to stagnate your growth or slow it, right? Mm-hmm.
But change is scary.
If you embrace it, that's a rebranding and resyncing everything, putting everything in alignment is a really good thing. Way to
move things forward in the right direction. Like alignment gives you movement.
Right. Yeah. So outgrowing your brand is a true sign of progress.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah, so that'll do it for this episode. And I think the next one, we're just going to keep diving into these topics that we keep hearing people talk about, or we keep talking about those things with our people that come through the door. It's kind of, I'm looking forward to the next 3 because I feel like this is getting more natural now. Yeah. That it doesn't feel weird. Because you guys have to remember, we're sitting in a room by ourselves.
Yeah, we're not. This is new to us, so this is
It's easier when there's somebody in front of you, but it'll be good. So we'll keep rolling with it, and hopefully we're getting good feedback from everybody off of this stuff here, and we'll keep directing it, changing our direction, so we don't outgrow.
We'll reframe. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.